Thank you for joining us on World News again, everybody. A countdown has started for Africa's largest country to split into two. A day ahead of the new Republic of South Sudan's independence, Sudan has officially recognized it as a new state. Local reporters from Sudan say South Sudan's independence on Saturday will return to the country to the borders of January 1st, 1956. Sudan's President Omar al-Bashir and other dignitaries are expected to attend celebrations in South Sudan's capital of Juba. The establishment of South Sudan follows a January referendum in which more than 98% voted for secession. The referendum was held under the 2005 peace deal. Meanwhile, the UN Security Council has unanimously voted in favor of sending 7,000 peacekeepers and 900 international police to South Sudan with a mandate to keep peace and help promote developments. Now, for more on the Sudan secession, we're joined through Skype by Ayo Johnson. He's Director of Viewpoint of Africa. Ms. Johnson, thank you for joining us. Khartoum is the first capital to recognize South Sudan. What motives convinced it to do so, and what countries are favorable for the South Sudan to ally with it after its secession?
Well, I think the secession is a good one. It shows that Sudan has become mature. They've gone through many years of upheaval between North and South, and they had shown that it was going to become extremely difficult for the two sides, especially the Muslim North and the Christian South, to work together. And this split or breakaway was the only means by which they could see that their people would live in peace and safety. And I think it's a step in the right direction. It's taken a very long time, but I think both North and South will be pleased and satisfied.
Well, Sudan is a new country is going to appear on the map of Africa. Is it the end of some problems or the beginning, possibly, of new problems on the continent?
Well, it's the beginning of many challenges. I wouldn't want to call them problems, but major challenges that they do have. Issues surrounding the oil-rich area of Abyei, the issues surrounding how the oil wealth will be split, issues as to how the two sides will coexist with one another, especially as we do know that the oil pipelines all run through the north, and the south would clearly not be able to work by itself. They would have to work in tandem with the north. So in the long term, greater coordination and greater cooperation is expected from both sides, and only time will tell exactly whether this peace that we see at the moment, especially this development of this new country and very much the acceptance by it by the north, whether that will be true peace or in the long term, but it remains to be seen. But we are hoping that that is the case, because we've seen in the past where the two sides have gone through bitter war for a protracted period of time, and it hasn't benefited anyone.
So, Mr. Johnson, the split and the new continent, the new country on the continent, you possibly think could cause a continuance of a power struggle, is what you're saying?
Well, there's definitely going to be a progress. There's some sticky points still yet to be determined, especially with the oil-rich areas, Abyei, very much in terms of the Dinka people, the Mizrahi, how they're going to cope. There have been talks that the autonomy or the determination of that region is yet to be determined, and that's such a very sticky point, because the North will certainly not accept for that region to be given to the South, and vice versa. So that's a very sticky point. But we are hoping that through negotiations and long-term coordination, especially through some of their neighbors and very much many of the international partners, they can actually see this through. But it's such a sticky point. That's one of the reasons why it hasn't been determined today, because it's so difficult to determine.
Well, Mr. Johnson, thank you for joining us on World News and sharing your thoughts. That was Ayo Johnson, Director of Viewpoint Africa, giving us the latest with the Sudan secession.